Woohoo! Good afternoon, it is Connie and I'm live today showing you some scrapbook layouts. Today we're going to make one 2-page layout using the Good Life, which is the new paper pack in this new catalog. And before we get to that, I want to show you some of the layouts that I've been messing around with lately. First, I've got home decor on my mind, and home decor is renovations and whatever. And I've been putting together our albums. I have an album of the house we live in, and then an album of the house next door. And so I have these pictures of us redoing the ceiling. We have this ugly like popcorn ceiling, and it's the kind of popcorn that has paint in it, where they mixed it with paint and then they painted it, and it's there's no scraping that off. And so I found this like suspended ceiling that works amazing, and every person that comes into our house comments on that ceiling and how cool it looks, and asked us how we did that, because it looks like it kind of reminds me of like front porch rails of the old houses, you know, like with the big front porches, how they have the cool ceilings. That's kind of what it looks like to me, and it has a beachy feel in the room because of the color. And so I used Cape Cod. I used this page that we made together in a live using the beachy papers, and you know, it had like the splatters and stuff. And I had this picture right here, which is not, you know, anything to anyone except for me and Steve, but I get a lot of questions on how we redid this ugly popcorn ceiling. And so this picture shows the track system and how it works to hold it onto the ceiling. And so anytime someone asks us a question, I can just whip this album out really quick and show them the layout. So flip flaps are great for stuff like that, where you have something that may not be like your forefront picture, your ideal picture, but something you still want to keep. And it kind of gives you that ability to hide it at first glance, but be able to look at it. So I love that I used a beach layout to do home decor. This is from Hey Handsome. You might remember us making this, where we did the strips of paper in the different patterns. I love this so much because it actually uses very little. I think it uses 2 inches of each paper style, and so you know, an inch, and you know, it uses 5 different strips. And I'm very tempted to recreate this layout using our current paper packs, because I love this layout. I love how it looks. I love how I was able to use PML cards, which we don't have now, but you know, we'll be able to use some embellishments here, a title, embellishments, etc. So this is, again, I used flip flaps. This was a deck project of our back deck needed refinishing really badly. We thought it needed replaced, and there was a wood board shortage during the pandemic, and we were unable to get enough wood to redo the deck. So Steve pried off all the wood, fixed the bracing underneath, and planed and sanded all the boards and redid it using what we already had. And then we modernized the deck rail to these posts that look so much nicer than the old deck that we had. So again, flip flaps, because I have some duplicate kind of pictures that aren't exactly my forefront pictures, but ones that I wanted to keep anyway. And so flip flaps are really great for that. And so I love that I used this could be used for anything, but I love that I have this in my layout. And then this is, you might remember this paper. This paper is from, like, I don't know, it might have been 2020, where it had the mountains, and it had kind of like a Pacific Northwest feel. It had like bears and trees and stuff in it, but we made this layout together with the triangles, and I used it. I don't have scenery of the forest or Pacific Northwest or whatever, but I did do this project where I replaced our shutters. I was going to just replace them, and then it turned out that they were just so faded, but it was hard to get them during the pandemic, and the newer ones, they said, fade easier, and I'm like, well, forget it, I'll just try painting the ones I have. So I pulled them off the house and I spray painted them. They turned out absolutely gorgeous, and I saved a ton of money. It cost me like the cost of a can of paint in a day. So I used that Pacific Northwest layout as part of a home decor project, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if I can do that, then you know, you can use these for anything. So let me show you today. Gotta get that out of the way. I want to do a sneak peek of our Hostess Club layout. If you don't want to see it, now is the time to walk away or pause and give me about 2 minutes before you come back, because I'm going to show you what I'm sending you as the surprise layout this month, and we're going to recreate it using the Good Life. So I'm sending you this Christmas layout. My Hostess Club people will get this, but I want to kind of go through it just a little bit. What I love is that it highlights a single photo on the left page. So this is something I don't do very often, but it's really nice, especially when you have like the whole family getting together and you take a family shot, to have a family photo here, or a picture with Santa, or, you know, just something special and unique here. And it has a lot of decor. It has a lot of little decorations and things. So it's a little fussy to make it because you use a lot of product that you have in your stash. So at the bottom, I used strips of paper and I rolled them. At the top, I have a couple of die cuts, some stamps. I have this zip strip line, and I have these dimensional loops. You can kind of see they stick up. So when they're in your book, they'll flatten out a little bit, but I did not flatten these out for you, because what if you hung this in a frame on your wall? You know, if you had a really cool, like a black frame, this would look so cool at Christmas to put a family photo up on the wall. I love this page. And then for page 2, whenever you do a single photo on page 1, you kind of want page 2 to be able to do some of the work. You want to get more photos on the page. And so again, I mimicked the other side by doing some rolling of the paper. That way you can see both sides, the red and the green. And I did some stamping at the bottom, left a little space for you to put the date or the whatever. There's plenty of room to add journaling over here if you want to, or you could even use one of these squares. The other thing I did was this right here is an SVG. So, you know, close to my heart sells those digital images, and you can just, you know, upload them to your Cricut design space and cut them out of cardstock or vinyl or whatever and put them on your page. So you can make your own decor on your page. It's really cool. And so I made one for everybody. I'm telling you, I moved my Cricut machine over here to the hobby house, and I gotta tell you, I feel like I need to use it because it feels wrong to have it sitting here untouched for so long. So this is the page that we are recreating. The other thing about this before, I did do that faux wood where you use your embossing like scoreboard and make fake wood bumps and then use some ink. So this was a labor of love, my friends. I gotta tell you, I'm gonna put this over there. My whole Christmas layouts usually are things that I really, really love, and I like to spend a little extra time on them. So here's what I did. I pre-cut some papers. Page 1 is in linen, which is a color that we don't use very often. It's not off-white. It's actually, like, if you see that with the white, it's actually sort of a grayish. It's a very pale gray, but it's a warm gray, not a cold gray. And then mist is a new color. We've had that for about a year, and I'm using the light, I think the light side. And I really love, in the Good Life paper pack, we have all these different papers, and one of my favorites is the wood grain. So we have this stripe that, if you look at this stripe, it kind of looks like a metal tin, the bumpy corrugated wall. It looks dimensional. And the back is this really nice brown, mocha brown. We have this print right here, and the back is sort of almost like a worn painted board. And then we have that mist colored wood grain, and the back of that one is kind of like the hero print of the design. And like I said, a lot of you look at this and you think, I don't have any farm pictures. I don't have stuff like that. So this is, I'm showing you don't have to have farm pictures. You don't even have to use this side of the page, because the other side is this cool wood grain that is so fun. And then, of course, there's the stickers. Now, I cut off the 2 bottom stickers. That's these strips, because I wanted to use them on each page, and I didn't want to forget to use them. And I'll probably use a couple other off of here as we make this page, right? So this one is going to be pretty straightforward. You saw, I'm basically going to make it so that it will hold several photos, and I'll probably use flip flap on it to hold even more. So I'm just going to set that one aside, and we're going to focus on this one, because this is the one where I have, I want to show you how I made it. And so I'm going to get started while we're talking here. I picked a bottom design, and I'm just going to kind of randomly tear it, fold it, roll this design down, and I'm not going to do anything else to it. You can see I did that. If you have trouble, if you're doing this with cardstock, it really helps to dip. I put water on a paper plate, and I dip the end in water and it'll get it wet. And then you can tear and fold and bend and distress all you want. And that is really cool. And if you really want to, distress it more, you could ink it. Let me grab my sponge. If you really feel like it just needs a little more, you can ink that fold, and it'll look really cool on your page. It'll look distressed. So there's that. I think that looks really good. And I may do a little more of that as we go. So let's start. I am going to put this on the page at the bottom. Let me move my page a little so I'm more in camera. So get out I got mono air today. I'm going to do the adhesive at the bottom. And I'm going to make it so that there's not adhesive on this part, because I want to tuck some paper in there. So I'm gonna just put that on and push that down, right? Adding a little extra ink there. And then this is the sticker that I want. If I had paper, I would just use paper. So if you have trouble using it as a sticker, you could stick it down to a piece of cardstock and then glue it in place. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of tuck it behind that piece of paper like that, so it pokes out, so you can kind of see how that looks. I like that. Now, you might recall on the sneak peek that I had like kind of loops. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these papers and I'm gonna fold them in half. Now these are 4 inches long, and not all of my loops are gonna be 4 inches long. So you wanna use enough adhesive so that you can cut excess off and make the loops a little different size if you want. So I'm gonna kind of keep some of them on this side and some of them on that side. And I'm just gonna keep folding. One of the things that was my goal on that layout, especially that layout that I'm including for your hostess club, is to use more white space. I have a tendency, I think you know this about me, I have a tendency to clutter it up, fill it. I'm gonna leave this hole, this will be my photo mat. And when you fill it, sometimes your eye doesn't know where to go. And so it's always a challenge for me to kind of know when to stop, you know what I mean? Sorry, I got a little adhesive on there. Hi, Karen. How's it going? I was gonna drop some stuff off at your house today, but we got busy with taking our car in. Steve's getting ready to go to the racetrack again this weekend, and so you know, every time he goes, it's like there's a inspection he has to go to, and his car has to be checked out, and things have to be updated and fixed, and etc. You know, it's just one of those things. It's just endless. All right, I'm gonna set my photo mat aside. This is just, you know, a 4x6 size photo mat. And my idea is to use a single, I should just show you the pictures I'm gonna use. So I have a bunch of home dec pictures, befores and afters of us painting. In our house, the kitchen and living room share a big wall. And so whatever goes in the kitchen has to go into the living room. And so it's always a challenge, but I like to change up the color every couple of years. And so when we did that, we decided just to paint the living room, the entire living room, because I had it this like mocha brown with a darker grayish. And then I changed it to a true dark gray. It's more of a charcoal color. It doesn't show up very good in the pictures, and then a lighter gray on the wall. I couldn't just keep it the same. It looks the same, but it's not. It's definitely a lighter color. I don't want all of these pictures to show. I mean, you know, I might show a before and after on here, but I have a couple that I want that I don't need like to be the forefront of the photos. And so I have some photo flip flaps. And you know, when you add a flip flap to a page, or actually you have one photo there, right? But you have the ability to add two more, because you can add one to the front, one to the back, and the one that you had. So this would flip. So you have the ability to add 3 photos in the place of 1 photo. And so flip flaps are pretty cool. And so that's my plan today, is to put a main focal picture here and maybe use a flip flap or 2. It just depends on, you know, really, this is going into my home update scrapbook. So it, you know, it doesn't have to be like artwork. But anyway, this zip strip is what I'm going to use to cover the top line of all of my little strips. So I'm going to start with this one, and I'm just going to put adhesive on it, but not on, I didn't put any on the loop. I don't want to smash it out. And I'm just going to pick a kind of a random spot on the layout. And I'm going to put it like from up and down. This is probably 4 inches from the top. And I'm just going to lay that one down. And then I want, you know, want one to be short. I want one to be long. And I think I want this one to have some mocha edge to it. I don't know which side I'm going to use, so I'm going to just ink up both. I like the idea of it being kind of distressed looking, so it distinguishes it from the board. All right, so how about I want this one, I don't want it to be all of the strips to be identical even. I want them to pattern play a little bit. So I'm going to cut off some of this. That's why I used a little extra adhesive on the top. And then I'm just gonna put that side by side with that. I really like that. And then I think I want a long one. Which one do I want long? I think I'll leave this one here, put this one here. I'm just sort of playing around a little bit with how I want this to look. And you don't necessarily want them all in a row either, right? So I kind of like this one being fairly short. So I'm gonna cut that off. And I'm gonna put it overlapping right there. I do want it straight a little bit. Okay, and then I like this long one in here. So I'm just gonna put it in here. So you can see I have this kind of row of strips, and then remember I'll have my photo mat, and that leaves me, I don't want to glue this down yet because I want to do this side first. I am going to do this one more or less the same. I might trim this just a little, and I want this to all be level. Now, if you're struggling with keeping it level, there is no problem in using like a T ruler to kind of notice it butts up right here to the side of the page, and then it gives you that nice straight line, and that way you can put that on there and know that it's going to be even across. If you don't have a T ruler, any quilting ruler, you can just make sure the lines are nice and straight on each side and you're good. Okay, I think this one I'll leave alone. I'll put it here. That way it'll be right next to my photos. This one I'm gonna shorten up a bit. I don't want it to be identical to, I don't want them all in a row. I'm gonna overlap it just a little. And this one, I'm gonna keep it long, but maybe not quite as long as it is. All right. And I'm gonna put it here. So you can see I have this row of strips. I really like how this looks. And then this zip strip is gonna go right across here. And what that'll do is, like, if you didn't, this isn't all perfect or whatever, if I butt it up, it'll show your gap, where if you line it up on top, then it'll be great for covering up any, irregularness that you have. I don't scrapbook perfect, so you may notice on your layouts that I send you, it's not perfectly straight. Maybe you're like, hey, that's crooked. She screwed that up. But that's just how I do it. All right, so there are my, you can see they're very dimensional. When you get them into your book, they'll smash down, but they'll look dimensional still, right? And if they're not as dimensional, like this one's really squished, you could put a tiny piece of foam inside the loop, and that way it will never smash completely down. Now, the photo, I know not everybody loves to do this, but I am gonna put foam tape on my photo mat right here. I want this part elevated, okay? So I'm going to do that, and boy, I'm very tempted. Do I want to mat that with brown too? Decisions. I think I might. Let me grab some mocha. Okay, so I have some mocha. I could do, I don't like the light side, but the dark side maybe. Do I want to do that? I kind of do. I think it adds to the page, since there's brown in this strip and there's brown here and here. All right, so let me just cut. I'm going to cut this one 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, and that way I can mat that and then raise it up. Oh yeah, see? I think that's a good plan. Okay. And I could use this weathered, I could have used this weathered side too. These papers go together pretty amazing. I really love how they look. All right. And now I'm gonna do my foam tape. And now if you have watched me at all, you know I use a lot of foam tape when I scrapbook, because my books, I don't put like gobs and gobs of layouts in every book, but I put enough in them that I don't want my, I don't want them to smash and then this thing to get wavy. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on. So what's everybody doing today? It's been a whirlwind couple of days for me. I have been going. We have a lot of stuff scheduled in September, but actually this weekend Steve's at the track and I have a class that I'm taking on Saturday. I'm gonna pop this. I'm not gonna make it low. I could, but I kind of like it up high. I just want to make sure it's straight. Oh, before I set it down. If anybody, I think while Steve's gone, I'm gonna start making a few Christmas cards. If anybody's interested in coming over and making a few Christmas cards, heck, let me know. Because I will be here. All right, look at that. Ta-da. Now, before I decorate the page, because I went ahead and I decided I'm going to use this set. This is that set called Nailed It, and it's got, you know, a toolbox and hammers and blah, blah, blah. And I want to color in some of those images, but I do want to kind of get page 2 set up, just so I get an idea of which page. So for page 2, I grabbed Mist, and I'm using the light side instead of the dark. I could use the dark, but it's a little much for me. And I am just going to put this at the top instead. So I'm going to go ahead and peel off my sticker, and it doesn't have to be, I don't necessarily want it, you know, level with the other page. I want it to be defined a little differently. So I'm going to raise this up. I just want it to be straight, which I did not accomplish. Okay, time for the T-ruler. Because, dang, it's hard to do this away from my face. So, like when you're, have your arms out in front of you, like I am doing right now, it's really important to use something to help you make it straighter. Okay, so there's that. And this page is very pretty, but I'm going to use the blue. And you know what? I think I'm going to rough it up a little with ink. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, curl and distress this edge. You can kind of see I folded it down, I tore it in a couple places, and now I just want to add some ink to it. And you know what would look really cool on this page is some of the, you know, there's a stencil that has bricks. I think that would look really neat. I'm just randomly pouncing, adding some brown ink. It's so weird, like on camera it looks so bold, but in person that's not very bold. It's very light actually. Let me see, where did I put my stencils? Just give me a second. I put everything away. All right. And I definitely think that one brick stencil would look very cool there. If I can find it. I have all of my others. I know I set it aside, so just for this purpose. So let me look in my stack again. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. In my pile of papers, I will use that again. I need to put my pattern papers away to get them out of my way because I'm making a big old mess. Can't find things. I don't know whether I will use these die cuts or not, but I'm going to keep those off to the side just in case. Okay, here is my stencils. Now, for those of you watching and hanging in there, you may remember I told you I accidentally bought 2 of these. And so I am going to give away this stencil pack, the whole stencil pack, which includes this set, which has like sort of a clock face and hands. It has the measuring tape and it has this cool brick. It has a really neat border up here, and this life is measured by moments in time. And I have that one. I have an extra, so I think I'll give it to 3 people, and I'll let the first person choose. The first person I draw will get to choose from the 3, and then the second person will get to choose from the other 2 that are left. And that way you'll each get maybe one that you really want. This one is wild and free. It's got giraffe. It's got this palm frond. It's got animal prints, which is really neat. Giraffe and zebra and cheetah. It's got some really cool animal tracks. That is number 2. And then number 3 is a layering stencil where it has a cool background. It's got a really neat border of flowers, hard to see. It says beautiful days. And then there's layers, like you can layer the flowers on top of each other. So you could put this, like you could do this in light pink, dark pink and red, or what, you know, whatever. You can layer the different patterns on top of each other. It's got a little daisy border at the bottom. So I have duplicates of all of these. And all you have to do in the comments, all you have to do is tell me what your favorite thing in the new catalog is. I want to know. And anybody who comments and tells me what their favorite thing is, you're in the drawing. Okay. So I like these bricks. I want some of this brick print. Not a lot of it will show because this will be like that. So it's really just the bottom, you know, 2 or 3 inches of the page. And I don't want it to be a solid, you know, brick print. I could use mist and do tone on tone. I could use charcoal gray, harbor. I think I'm going to use a little bit of harbor. Let's see what that looks like. I've got a blending brush. And now if I try it out here in the middle of the page, it'll be covered. So if I hate it, you know, if I don't really love how it looks, it'll be covered anyway. But I just want to see what it looks like in harbor. Oh, look at that. Very nice. Okay. So I kind of like that look. If you want to see what it looks like tone on tone, let me grab mist. Let me find mist. Since we were gone this morning, taking the car across country, wherever we were, I didn't have all my stuff out like I normally do. I usually try to think ahead and pull everything out so you're not spending time, you know, waiting for me to hunt it down. Okay, let's do the mist and see what that looks like. Mist is the same color of this paper. So this will be look at that. So the mist is, I would say, a little more of a gray stone look, and the harbor is more of an actual blue. Any preferences? I don't know. I think I like the mist a little bit better. So it doesn't really matter. Like I said, this will be, you know, this will show, it'll only show a little bit below this page. So I'm just going to put this on here, ink up my brush again, and just sort of light touch. And if you do a circle, you catch the edges of the stencil and you'll get like all of the bricks. I don't want a hard line at the edge of my stencil, and I don't want it to necessarily go all the way down. Maybe I just want like a real soft hint of a design like that. I might put just a little bit at the top too. I don't want very much of that. Let me just straighten it a little more, being a little sloppy. All right. Oh, nice. Okay. So now I have a little stenciling on my page. I like how it looks. I'm going to clean my stencil off a little bit before I move on. I promise I'll send you the new one, not the one I just used. Okay. There's that. And now I can set that aside and go ahead and put on my paper. And remember, I want it to kind of, make sure I'm in camera, overlap just a little bit. And I'm curling and flattening this. Now, the other thing you can do, if you're not into the whole dimensional thing, is you can take like a liquid glue and just put it under there and then smash it down, and then this will be flat. It'll be flat in your book more or less anyway. But so there's page 1, there's page 2. I could put just a little bit of design on that also, but I'm thinking I might stamp a little something on there. Let me grab my stamps I want to use. Did I have these out? No, I did not. Do I know where they are? No, I don't. Okay. So I have these different stamps here, and I have my mist ink. I also have my mocha ink. And I like this one. I could put it, you know, so just edge it over the top. I could use the boards a little bit. I'm painting in the picture, so I could use this like a paint swoosh. So, you know, you choose what you like. I think I'm going to try this one. I've not used this one. So why not? Now to get a good impression, I want to put foam behind. I'm stamping right on my page, and I already made my page, so you don't want any errors. Although, I mean, the design itself is like, whatever. I mean, if you have an error, you have an error. I'm going to use, I have some paper in my scrap bin. This is scrap. I know it looks like something I could use on this page. But I'm going to just so you can see, I'm going to use a mask. And let me get my mist ink again. And I'm going to really ink this up. I want to make sure it's inked up pretty well. And then I'm going to mask off my line and push hard because there's a little bit of, oh, look at that. Boy, that's cool looking. I like how that looks. I don't like how I have a little edge there, but I'll fix that. That will not be an issue. I think I need a little bit on this side as well, just to balance it out. And I use mono adhesive, which doesn't normally allow me to lift, but I'm gonna lift. I'm gonna try. Okay, there. Now, close to my heart adhesive allows me to lift. I like how that looks. Look at that. That's very cool. I think I might do a little more at the top. Put my foam. Hunt for my mask. I'm gonna put that there and stamp. Okay, yeah, I like it. All right. I like how that looks. So cool. I'll use that. I could have used, you know, the wood grain. It looks neat in combination with the stenciling, just to give a little pattern. All right, let me move that out of the way. And let's see, embellishments. So like I said, I have some photos of before and after. This is like an after photo, and I kind of like the after photos being there. This is an in the middle of painting photo. And so I don't necessarily want to see all this mess. So I might use a couple, you know, a flip flap allows me to do 3 photos, right? So I might be able to just pick a main photo and do 2 flip flaps over here. And I can mat those with the mocha. And then I can do 1 flip flap over here. And then when I raise it, I can put my journaling in the flip flap or something. So that's my tentative plan. Now, decorations. I have cut out a whole bunch of these little doodads, and I intentionally did not color. I had a couple of them that were already colored with markers, which I thought was really cute. And the rest I kind of left because I thought it would be fun to color with the new pencils. So I want to show you what I did with the new pencils. Gosh, I've been on here almost an hour, my gosh. Okay, so I have my llama case, 31 bag, pulling that down. I have all 4 of the pencils from Spectrum Noir, these colorista pencils. And so I have all the colors together so I can see what I've got. And what I did was I just put a heavy piece of cardstock and doubled it up, and I swatched each box of colored pencils. Now, the one that Close to My Heart does not carry is called Floral Sensation. And you can see it's almost all pinks. It's pink, yellow, and red, purple. And you get those colors in the Vivid. I think that's why they decided not to carry all of them, because they're kind of duplicates. You can, between the Portrait and the Vivid, you don't need all the others. Now, I do like all the greens and the natural landscape. I like that. So I just wanted to show you that I swatched it, and then I made them, I put them like tape around them so that I knew which pack they came from, just for the sake of being able to tell you guys, not because I care so much. Like if it was mine, I don't know that I would care. All right. So I have a couple of paint cans. I have some paint swatches. I have this toolbox, and I have some tools. I want to make sure everything's, I did before and after in Harbor ink, so I'm definitely going to use that. I did the DIY and I did the word reno and makeover in mocha ink and DIY and charcoal ink. And then here I had started to color these and I was like, what am I doing? I'll do colored pencil. So I'm going to start with kind of a lighter color of brown. Let's get this one done first. The thing about colored pencils is they work best if you have a flat side. And just like the watercolor pencils, you don't want to see brush strokes. If you use a pointy part of the pencil, you will see the lines where you're coloring. Now, the cool things about these pencils is that, oh my gosh, they're soft. They're really nice compared to what I expected. And so cool. Now, if you just have one color brown for you know, whatever reason, you can just push harder and get more pigment onto your picture like that. Or you can do what I'm going to do right now. I colored the whole thing, and then that was with brown sepia, which is my perfect portrait. And then I'm going to go with a darker brown in the perfect portrait. This is light auburn. I should use dark umber, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a little pressure and kind of shade a little bit in a couple of places like that. Okay, and then I'm going in and I'll use my dark umber and get a few darker places like this. So just like the tri-blend markers, you know, you can use multiple colors and blend them together, or you can just use one color in multiple layers. And now I'm going to go back to my brown and go through the whole thing. Now, people who do a lot of colored pencils will sometimes use a blending stump. I may show that sometime just to show you, you know, like the art tools or whatever. But anyway, I like how that looks. I like how it's modeled. I like how it really looks different. I'm going to poke a hole in there and cut this. My thought here is I want to put the tools into the toolbox. So let me just cut out this middle. I wanted to color it first. I was afraid the handle would be too floppy for how rough I am with colored pencils. All right, ta-da. Okay, one down. And I got the paint handles done. Okay, so now I kind of want to color my paint swatches, and I think I'm going to do blue, and I've got a sky blue here, and I'm going to use the lightest touch that I can. And then down here, I'm going to use, I think I'll use the darkest one on the third. And then I want to use something in the middle, because you know these are supposed to be variable as you go, right? So that was blue teal, and blue teal is in the Bright and Vivids And so I'm going to use Azure Blue, which is a lot darker. And I'll put it here. And then a little lighter. And then maybe just overlap a little bit there. So I have like a paint swatch of colors. And then I think I'm gonna make one of my paint cans with blue. And then I'm doing gray, which is very boring, but I'm gonna do light gray, make it darker. I'll do a light gray. I'm gonna use that again. And then I think I'm gonna get that lighter blue again and kind of go over and my idea is to just make it, you know, like you would see in the store where it's different colors. All right, cool. There's those. Now, the other thing I want to do to finish off the paint cans is I want to shade them just a little bit. And so I'm going to use the gray to do the edges of the can because, you know, it's round. And then it'll be darker at the bottom. And I'm not coloring in the whole can. Too much work. Like that. And I think I want this a little darker. I may have to add a little tan or brown or something to it. Just to give it a little color. All right, I like that. And then now the paintbrush handles and that kind of thing. Normally I would just make them a super bold color, but because they're gonna be sticking out of this so I have that. Most levels, I don't know whether I want it yellow, but maybe a brown. This is chestnut brown. It's kind of a reddish brown. And if you have the markers, these are fun to color with markers. I've already used them on a couple of cards and I've been messing around with them a little bit. And I really love playing with this stamp set because you can do these in any color, which is really cool. And you can make them light, dark, whatever you want. All right. So I'm going to shade this where around the edges. So I love the idea of winning that stencil set. For those of you who fast forwarded through me coloring, you can win the set. I'm gonna close up my bag. You can win a stencil pack just by answering the question, what is your favorite What is your favorite thing in the new catalog? I just want to know. All right, I'm getting out my adhesive. I'm putting adhesive on the back of my toolbox. And now I'm just going to arrange, if I can pick them up. I just did my nails and they're all slippery. Now I'm just going to put the tools in the toolbox. Just like that. Okay, and then I have all my stuff. I'm ready to decorate my page. I'm gonna bring it back over, boom. Now, one of the things that I think is really cool is these wood, they're like wood grain paperboard, okay? They're really very thick paperboard. And what's really cool about them is that you can color them, you know, any color you want. So I'm using my mocha ink and my sponge, and I'm gonna color one of the arrows, and I'm gonna color one of the flags. Probably be better if I put it on, you know, like scratch paper or something. And pop those out. All right, so after, I know the after picture should be on the other side, but I want to highlight the finished look, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and put those on. I'm going to use my liquid adhesive just so it's a little faster. I want to put that there, and that'll help cover up that kind of blank area where my stencil didn't touch, right? You don't even see it. And then I have this cute little flag that I colored mocha, and I'm just gonna add that. I think I'm gonna put DIY on the other page, but this page needs a title. I have lots of titles. I could do Home Sweet Home. I could do Heart and Home. I like the Heart and Home. I don't know that I would use it for my other pictures necessarily. And I love the idea of, you know, adding the title. So I'm going to put that on foam tape. You guys are going to be like, are you done yet? All right. Pop out my foam tape. This is the thin 3D foam tape. I'm really happy with how the Christmas layout came out. And I hope that you guys like it. Like I said, it's a labor of love. When you see all the work that goes into creating all the elements of a page and then seeing it all come together, it just, you know, really adds. Okay. And then I'm going to add a few things to the page. There's my paint swatch. And I'm going to put the toolbox on the other page. I'm gonna put this. I'll make like a little thing down here. And I love the nails and bolts and okay. And like that. Okay. There is more or less page 1. And then page 2, I'll have my flip flaps, and I will not probably be using these particular pictures, but these are placeholders for me. And I'm going to put my little toolbox down at the bottom. Move those. DIY. And then I have the other paint can. I'll tuck it into the rolled edge and put the paint swatch on there. And then I'm going to put the word before and I think I'll put the word makeover on here. I think I'll use a little foam tape on that. Now, normally I would go ahead and add some gems or add some not like little, you know, something. I don't know that I need it on this particular page because, like I said, this is going in my home renovation book. It's not necessarily like high art, right? Okay, so when you put on a flip flap, the opening is there, and this little sticker peels off and is really sticky, and you fold it over and stick it down and push. And then you can put a photo at the bottom, you can put a photo on the top of the flap, and a photo that will show when your album, you know, when someone turns the pages to your album, they will see that. Now, what I want to do is I want to put mocha behind that and then put the pictures on. So I'll post what I've done here when I've done it, like after. And then I might do a little more stenciling up here just to add a little something. Yeah, you know, this blue wood green is so pretty. I hate to cover it up, but I do have it in several places on this layout. So I think it's gonna turn out to be super cute. The other thing I have that I could add to here is, you know, these little flags could easily be added here. And it could, you know, on your sneak peek layout, I have it poking out over here, like off to the side. So I may do that as well. So I'll show you the pictures when I'm totally done. And I may even add a couple of little, of the little wooden stars. and I'll take a photo. So remember, to win the stencil, you just need to put what your favorite item is in the new catalogs, and I will put your name in the running, and I'll let you know which stencil is available, because the first name I draw will have their pick of all 3, and the second name I draw will have their pick of the 2, and then the third name I draw will get the 3rd one, and I will mail it with your club layouts. So I hope you really love the stencils. I've double ordered a couple of things, and so I have some giveaways that will be coming up throughout the month, but this is the first one, and I know I've been on for a long time here, but it takes a while to scrapbook. So I will check in with everybody later, and just let me know if there's anything that you have questions about, or if I should do something different with this, or you would do something different with this, because I'd love to hear it. Thanks for watching and hanging in there. Bye.